2025 Shamrock Marathon. This one is happening March 14th to 16th on this 2025 edition. First things first, make sure you head over to their website. It's got a host of great information, which we are going to run through really quick here. Race weekend, this has got a lot of useful things here. A lot of pre-race information, a lot of parking, all that good stuff. Run, make sure you check out the marathon, course map, course information. We're going to talk about all these things here. You can also read about the party, the results, and if you haven't registered, register. Something quick that we are going to jump to really fast is the race weekend. We're going to jump to our facts. This is a lot of really good information. If you don't have all the questions answered, you can definitely just start here on the facts page. Registration, expo, packet pickup. Where do you pick it up? We'll address that in a second. Race information. Is there a dry bag check? Yes, there is. You can pause this or you can head to the race website and read about it right here. It's going to be between 38th and 40th Street. And then the pickup as well. It's going to be right there. It's going to be on the finish line, or just past the finish line on the boardwalk. So that's our facts page. Let's jump back into the schedule of events here. Starting off Friday, March 14th, 11 a.m. to 7 p.m., the Sports and Fitness Expo is open and available at the Convention Center. March 15th, 7:30 a.m., you got that 8K start time. You got the post-race celebration, 8 to 12:30. 10:30, you have the Leprechaun Dash start. The final mile is starting at 11 a.m. Noon to 5, we have the Expo open as well. Make sure you do check out the Expo and get your packet picked up before race day. Sunday, race day. Half marathon and the marathon are starting at the same time, 7:30 a.m. Post-race celebration starts at 8:30 and then lasts until about 4-ish p.m. Usually a great post-race celebration. There's lots of great options. Restaurants, one of my favorite places to celebrate after a race in Virginia Beach. Loads and loads and loads of options. This is the expo. Again, the expo is on the 14th at 11 to 7, and then the 15th, Saturday, noon to 5. Get your race bib, get your participant t-shirt, shop the store, check out the vendors, sign up for your next race. That is what they talk about right here. If you are unable to pick up your packet pickup, head up the authorization form. I believe the cutoff for that is happening in the next couple of weeks here in February, but don't quote me on that. Make sure you check out the facts page that we talked about earlier. The course, we're going to talk about course safety for a second here. Lots of really good answers to a lot of questions on the course safety page. Only registered participants are allowed on the course. A couple of these are kind of funny. Only trained and registered service dogs may accompany participants on course. Race bibs must be visible. Backpacks are not permitted, and we'll be a good little visual in a second here. You are required to stay on the course at all times. Exiting the course to explore a neighborhood is not permitted. I wonder why that's in there. Also, you are going to be running through some bases, military bases, so make sure you are respectful, stay on course, don't litter, all that good stuff. Porta potties are going to be located at the start area at each mile marker along the course and also at the post-race celebration. Hydration, this is what we talked about a little bit earlier. Can you have these on course? The graphic to the left here is yes, graphic to the right is no, and I'm just going to scroll up so you can see a little bit more. So again, keep in mind on the left-hand side that hydration pack, fuel belt, handheld water bottles, those are all a yes for this race. The no's are the hydration backpacks, a backpack, a GoPro camera, not allowed, weighted vest, not allowed at the Shamrock Marathon. Just again, useful information to know. Make sure you plan ahead now and you won't have any issues on race day. This is parking. This is our parking map. The blue area, let's go to the yellow. Yellow is the private lots, pay on entry. Blue is the parking garages where you do have to pay. The free city lots are the green areas right at the middle school here. And then the road closures are all in red, and then the orange lines are the detoured lines here. So the final mile start line is here. The Neptune Park is also right there. The 8K start line is located right here. The half and the full marathon start line is actually off map here. It's above in this area here. It's located on 41st Street Sunday at 7:30. Also, the final mile, the start times for the other races are listed on this graphic as well, but we are just talking about the marathon primarily for this race here. Scrolling down, you can see the kind of the flow of traffic. We have the red road closures. The detours are going to be pushing you through out over here. Pretty standard for events out in Virginia Beach if you've ever experienced them. This is our marathon courses at the bottom here. I have the highlighted, the Noon Endurance Lemon Lime. If you haven't experienced this fuel out here on the race course, this is the nutrition facts right here. So a serving size of this, you're going to get a couple of really, really useful things here. The first thing that you're going to get is about 60 calories. The sodium is 380 milligrams, and the protein is 0. So if you are someone that does get a little bit hungry, make sure you do pack a little bit extra stuff. What I don't know, what you probably will have to play around with on race day, is the serving size of this. I would wager a guess that you're probably not going to get a full serving size of this in each cup, at each water stop. So you're likely going to experience somewhere in between 20 to 40 calories per serving here, which means that all of that is going to be halved as well. So say sodium, you're probably going to get in the 250 range. Milligrams. So if you are a really heavier sweater out there, you are going to have to supplement ahead of time with that. But this Noon Endurance stuff is, on paper, it's pretty good. It does have potassium, it's got chloride, it's got calcium, it's got magnesium in there. So a little bit more substance to this than the traditional Noons from back in the day. So if you haven't raced with this, I would highly encourage you to just at least try this out before you get there on race day so you're not blindsided by it. And you can also experiment around with how much works for you, if it even works for you. If it doesn't work for you, then you're going to plan on bringing your own nutrition anyways leading up to the race, so it's going to be a moot point. But water stops are going to be approximately every 1.5 miles on course. Noon Endurance Lemon Lime flavor is going to be available at every water stop. So that's going to be really good. So you're going to have an offering of water or this stuff as well. Goo is going to be available at mile 5.5 and mile 19. If you are someone with a softer stomach, make sure you are ingesting some liquid with the goos, with the gels. Make sure you practice that ahead of time leading up to your race. Something in your long tempo runs, your long endurance runs. Make sure you are practicing fueling with this just in case you do need to fuel with it on race day. Porta potties, again, start and finish line and adjacent to every water stop out there. So loads of options for you out there. There's also going to be pace groups. That is clickable, so you can click that and find out your pace group if you wanted to do that. Course records out here. The men's record is a 2:25.58. Women is a 2:49.34. So this course is a flat course. It's labeled as a fast course, but it's not a set in the world on fire course, and we'll talk about why in a second. Quick facts. 7:30 a.m. start time at the 42nd Street and Atlantic Ave. Minimum age of 17. Dogs not permitted. Course time limit is 7 hours and 30 minutes, which is a 17-minute and 9-second per mile average. This is a 2026 Boston Marathon qualifier. They also list their course certification number and their USATF sanction event number, which I have not seen at a whole lot of other races. So again, props to these guys. This is a great course, and let's dive into the specifics here. So this yellow little chute here, that is, and let's just get out of here so we can actually look at what we're talking about. This yellow offshoot right here, that is the finish line right here. The marathon start is actually right here where my cursor is, between 40th and 42nd Street. As you go here, you're going to start off going north, right? And you are going to continue, and you're going to hang a left right up here. Mile markers are listed in these orange areas. This is a little off here. But you are going to go here, hang a left, and then you're going to go run around clockwise before coming back down. And something that you will notice, or hopefully, is you are right next to water for a large portion of this race. Before we get deep into this overview, weather does play a major factor at this race. Over the last 3 or 4 years, it's played a huge, huge factor. Starting off, it's probably going to be a little bit more chilly. You are going to feel very comfortable during this section right up here, and we'll just get a little arrows for you. You are going to get really comfortable during this section here. You're coming off of the water. Wind is going to be a little bit less. You're a little bit more sheltered from it. And then when you start to go next to the water again during these sections over here, you are going to experience more elemental stress out there. It's also going to be a little frustrating because that's going to be right around mile 5.5, 6. So you're going to start to hit the groove a little bit, and then you'll be hit with this if it comes, if you are experiencing large winds coming off of the water here. That could definitely disrupt you. So you're going to go from cold to feeling great, back to cold again, at least per usual. And as you keep going down here, things change a little bit. You're still going to have some of that environmental stress coming off the water, the wind, the elements. But as you peel off down here, you are going to warm up a bit. If it's a decent day out there, this is going to be the area where you overheat or your race falls apart because you're used to one thing and then it changes as you get off of here. So plan for that. It's a little bit more challenging than you think. You have to be on your P's and Q's, nutritionally and pace-wise, power-wise, when you get back in this section. Almost always, the race for the athlete here falls apart during this orange section and pretty much after this dolphin, right back in here. Almost always. This is where people break. So come into this area ready to work. Be mentally sharp here. You only have a couple miles left, but nutrition still plays a major, major factor. So if you're feeling things kind of up here as you're approaching the start-finish line, make sure you are reacting to those things and not just saying, I just got 13 more miles, let's just push through this, because then you are setting yourself up for failure there. So use those water stops. This is the elevation profile listed for our course here. And if we zoom in here, they also list the marathon cutoff times as well here, which is also very, very cool. They also list they do list the time of day where you have to be and where and when that is. So the last one is 23 miles. You got to be there by 2:07 p.m. At 2:08, they will close that section, and anybody that has not passed there will be forced to step off the course, and they'll bring you back in. All right, so going back to a little pre-made section of course here, this is pretty much what you're going to expect out here. You have 277-ish feet of elevation gain. A little bit more because of this section right here isn't as accurate. This section here, you are going to experience a hill, a little ramp up here, and this is going to be where a lot of people get separated. So for this first couple of miles, everyone's happy, everybody's working together, everybody's kind of in their own little space. Runners during this section, it's not uncommon for them to get frustrated and then just to kind of blow off some steam. They go around a lot of people, and then this section, which isn't super accurate right here, is a hill. So when you do get to this section, if you've just skyrocketed your effort, you hit this section of a hill and you have to continue the work. And that's why athletes that start to peel up at the top over here, right here, this is where they start to kind of fall apart in our race. And a great way to avoid that is just to embrace the crowd here. I usually say, just wait till you get out of it. But during the first couple of miles here, embrace the crowd. Don't get super cautious. I would watch if you're going for a BQ or a personal best, I would be definitely monitoring your pace, your power, and your overall time. But I wouldn't get too wrapped up in it if you do. If you're right on target, most people want to start a little faster than target. So if you're right on target, I really wouldn't let it eat at you at all here. Because this section is very, very critical on race day, looping back around. what you're going to get is you're going to get two things. You're going to get those first athletes that we talked about. They're going to start fading here, believe it or not, and that is about 6 miles into the race. You got 20 more to go, and they're already fading because they totally went out too hard. The other athlete that you're going to get is the smarter athlete here. You're going to get the athlete that's ramping the pace up back here because they started a little more cautious. Those are the athletes that you're going to want to keep in your sights over here. Typically what happens is that is a mainstay until you get to the start-finish area, and then those athletes that really push the pace during this section start to fade as well. So your goal should be to keep that second athlete just in your sights, okay? If you're feeling good, that's great, that's fine, but I wouldn't totally unload a can here, burn your match, whatever you want to call it, during that section. I would stay in control, and the name of the game here is nutrition and hydration and monitoring your stress. If you're starting to feel some cramps at mile 6, mile 8, anywhere in this area, you're going to have to be careful, and you're going to have to start course correcting ASAP. ASAP. The section of courses that are the most critical leading up to the area that we talked about earlier are all along this section right here. From top arrow to bottom area, very critical here. You'll also notice that that is very open to our elements here. Not uncommon for our wind to be going this way or this way. And also not uncommon for it to be going this way on race day. It can go every which way out here. So monitor and see what's happening. If the wind is blowing at the worst possible section or the worst possible way for you during this section, I call it leapfrogging. Make sure you're picking people off one by one. Use the people in front of you as a little windshield, drafting for our cyclists, right? And just find the next person, find the next person, find the next person. What a lot of people do here is they find that person, they're drafting, it's feeling good, their pace is great. And without knowing it, that front person is slowing down, and so they slow down because they want to stay behind it. Don't be afraid to go out and find the next person, and that's how you're going to start just reeling people in and start to get a little bit of time back on your BQ or your personal best time here. Leapfrog those individuals. If it's a tailwind here, watch out. Just be careful. It will push you. It will throw you down here. I would say enjoy it, but I won't say push the pace here on that tailwind. What's more likely is you are going to experience a crosswind from the left shoulder here. With that, again, you can't really find people for that unless you find the perfect pacer for you, and I doubt that exists on race day for longer than a little while. So you largely have to follow your targets here. Again, nutrition is still my main priority. Hydration is still right at the top of my list here. As you get lower, here, let's get out of this. As you get lower into our race, this is actually where the race is won or had, or, this is where you achieve greatness out here. During this section here, the wind you will get a little bit more shielded from it. The terrain does get a little more chunky out here. Again, chunky is a relative term. It's pretty flat here, but you are going to experience some inclines out here. The wind will die down very quickly as you start to get off of the water. Because of that, if you are experiencing that tailwind that we talked about before, it's going to be a little bit more challenging during this section as well because you're not going to have that assist and you're used to it. So make sure you're just taking notes the whole time as you get down here. If failure to do that is going to open you up to failure. That's a terrible sentence. But this section, again, I can't stress how critical it is back here. The neighborhood right back through here, that is an area where a lot of athletes really fall apart. It's just a mentally tough area. There's a lack of stimulus back here. You're on the water to start out, and then the second you get back here, you just drop off. There's less people. There's less everything out here. It just becomes kind of desolate. There's going to be little pockets and groups of cheer squads, right? But for the most part, it's going to be angry locals that are getting rerouted. So just get in your own head, right? And I would just turn on your mode, right? What you find in your race, or not your race day, in your training days back through here. Watch your cadence, watch your power, pace, whatever here. If it's starting to fall, ask yourself why. Did you go a little too hard before? Are you depleted? Are you just having a lack of focus back through here? Don't be afraid to walk, run this section, and even the section beforehand along the water here. Very, very common for athletes to burn those matches, and when they get back here, that's all that's left, and they're just kind of suffering through it. If it does start to fall apart, realize that you can still have a great day doing a walk-run strategy. And again, if you know that you have like a cramping issue, and say, okay, like how much calories have I had? How much liquid have I had? Like, and the list goes on and on and on. The second you, or the longer you wait to figure out what is wrong with you, the longer it's going to take to solve that issue. If there's an issue that's popping up and you say, I know exactly what this is, and you try to solve it in that moment, right, the faster it's going to get solved. It's not going to get solved in a mile, right, but it will come back. You just have to figure it out and then work that problem and just see what happens. All right, but that is something that again you can play around with on in your training runs and your longer runs. I'm not saying go out and totally bonk on your training runs, but when you do have a worse run, don't just give up on that. You know, figure out what's going on, figure out why it's going on, and try to like correct it in the moment. So that is a little bit of a breakdown back through here. And as you get back through here, this section coming back in, this is probably, in my opinion, one of the harder sections. I would say that the hardest one is this little neighborhood section, just mentally. And then when you get almost back through here, this little zigzag route here, that is probably another super challenging area mentally. You just want to be done at this point, and you're not. At the end of this section here, you're at mile 23, so you have a little bit of ways to go, and most people just want to be done if they're right on their limit. Um, so realize you do got another 5K here um, before you finish. So don't arrive at this little spot down here and think, okay, I just have a little bit more to go. You need to arrive at this spot saying, okay, I can do this. Positive mental thoughts there, right? And as we go back here to the marathon route, I just want to go back here and highlight some of the important things, like the water stops here. And let's change this so you can have a little bit of a better um, gauge of things. Water stop with noon. This is a water stop with everything and the goo right there. Water stop here, water stop here, water stop here. This is a really well stocked race here um, for aid here. Water stop with noon, water stop with noon. Water stop here. The other goo stop is right down here before you hit the turnaround. Then you got to stop, stop. And there is one more right through here before you hit the finish line. So there's no real reason to kind of bonk or crater here through a caloric deficit or even a nutrition deficit. This is one of the better stocked marathons out there. So I would actively be prepping with that noon endurance lemon lime flavor now. And that is a quick course breakdown for everyone here. If you want more of an individual one for you, please reach out to me. I happily do that for you guys. Good luck to everyone racing on this 2025 Shamrock Marathon, one of the best marathons out there. Good luck, everyone.